fans, good evening BSTV fans, and welcome to this GT4 TCR challenge. This is season 7 round 11, and we are at the very strange, very lethal Charlotte Legends RC, which I think means Rallycross, long version of the track. Lord only knows what the short version is. But the officials have been a bit tasty. They've not been very well represented, as in there's not many people turning up for them. To the point where I was even in the top split yesterday, and that's unheard of. I'm Pete Bingham, and in the booth with me tonight, we welcome back Yaz Samai. Good evening, Yaz.
Good evening, everybody. Looking forward to this one. It's going to be some very different action here tonight.
Absolutely, this is a very different track, and on the cameras, doing all the technical stuff. And keeping us in line, as ever, is Sam Boozen. Good evening.
Trying to find my button. Good evening, everybody. I was on the wrong screen on my stream deck, and I had struggled to find my.
That was classic. That was brilliant. So here we are with our TCRs. So we've got the Hyundai there. We're following Russell Powell at the moment. There is a Honda knocking about as well, just in front there. That's my teammate Gary Craig, who needs to win tonight. And there is an Audi. Have we got any Audis? Yes, we've got an Audi. Rob Venn and JB Dejoux are driving those. There's Rob Venn's one. He's currently top of the timing screens, which is bizarre. There's JB's. So he's for Shriners Hospitals for Children, all over his car. Bit of shameless plugging there, which I'm hoping he'll appreciate. And then in the GT4s, we've got three Porsches, sorry. We've got Stefan here. We have... Why is Wobbly in the McLaren again? We've got Chris Needham in a Porsche. There he is, for RWC Racing Black. And there's Arnaud Chenonnier for RWC Racing White. Then we've got a McLaren in the form of wobbly kneecaps. There he is. Hoping he crashes shamelessly into a wall. And then, he's just gone top. And then we've got Jamie Wilson, who's the only one in a BMW as well. So single representation for the McLaren and the BMW tonight. Let's see how those two get on. Yaz, have you driven this version of the course? This is the same as the dirt course, only... It goes a slightly different direction on the infield. It's twisty, it's tight, and it's pokey. Have you ever driven this one?
Has anybody ever driven this course? To be honest, I don't think anybody's driven this layout ever before on iRacing. I think they might be trying to recycle and throw some things at these drivers. It's no wonder. Looking at this track, it's no wonder it's been. Little quiet in the official races, but that being said, we still have a race here tonight. The guys are in here ready to go, and they need to score as many points as they can. I can't believe we're into round 11 already. Just 2 rounds left, just this one and another one, and that's the season done again. It's gone by very quickly.
It really is, yeah. I'll very quickly get through, because we've only got we're about 5 minutes into this quarter of an hour qualifying session at the minute, folks. So GT4 standings, your championship leader at the moment is Chris Needham on 525 points. Wobbly is in second on 515. Jamie Wilson is in third on 507. Stefan is in fourth on 491. So all four of those are here tonight. Just checking. And Kylie Haddington rounds out the top 5. Arnaud Chenonnier is in 10th. He's the other GT4 that's here. And he's on 119. So he's got some way to go to get towards the top. If we move on to the TCR field, we find Sam Blease has taken over the lead after Spencer had an impromptu pit lane start that he imposed upon himself last week. And then had a few incidents along the way, meaning he didn't finish as highly as he wanted to. So Sam Blease on 628, Spencer McCarthy, his teammate, on 599. Stephen Walker is in third on 548, so he's within shouting distance of second place. And then my teammate Gary Craig is on 543, only 5 points adrift of third place. So Gary needs to win this. Everybody else in the whole field needs to crash, and it'll be a good night for BSTV Esports Green. I didn't join as a racer tonight. There was other stuff going on just before the race, which means I'm not going to get accredited my points for what would I have been, 13th. Matt Elmore is in 5th place on 455 points, so he's got a bit of a mountain to climb to catch up to the top 4. So the top 4 is very, very tight at the moment, and all to race for. If we go to the team standings, we have Alpine Stars Geodesic Racing on the top spot, clear by 270 points. RWC Racing Black are in 2nd. BSTV Esports Pink are in 3rd. Spectre 6 Purple are in 4th, and the best team in the whole league, BSTV Esports Green, are in 5th. So it's quite distended, the teams championship. There's about 100 points between each set of teams there. If I can get back to the broadcast, there we go. Yeah, so we've got a lot of competition in this one, Yaz. If you look at the TCR provisional grid, we've got Sam Blease, Stephen Walker, Spencer Carthy. Carl Hardy must be out of sequence there. He's got too many pies in that car for him to be that high up. And Gary Craig a bit further back at the moment. I expect him to put in a faster time once he gets in a bit of a rhythm. So what are your thoughts about the two fields that we've got?
I'm still on that statement you made that you would have at least been 13th. I think that's a stretch, even with only 12 drivers in this race so far.
You're such a knob.
Well, yeah. So yeah, it's tight at the top in the TCRs. The GT4s also, but the TCRs have been, it's been a battle all season. Spencer McCarthy, Sam Blease. It's all from one team fighting at the top there. Stephen Walker's not out of this. He hasn't had the season he had last year. He's had quite a challenge from Sam and Spencer. But I'm sure he's trying to push to the front as best as he can. Funny thing is that he's still in 3rd place in qualifying standings at the moment, as he is in the overall point standings as well. So he's definitely got a challenge on his hands this season compared to last season. In the GT4s, like you say, Wobbly's in 2nd place. There he missed a few races, but Chris Needham, we've seen him get a good couple of results where he's been opportunistic and stayed on track when others have gone off ahead of him. And then who can ever forget that push for the line? Was it at I don't remember the track now, but keeping Tyler behind him for quite some time for that first win of his. So there's still all to play for with only 2 rounds left. The guys that are not in front have very little time to catch up now. So yeah, it's going to be a tight finish.
Yes, and we just saw Wobbly crashing. I could spend many hours watching the replay of that. Yeah, this is a funny track. There's a bit of elevation change in it, which doesn't suit all the cars. Cold tyres are pretty bad round here. The corner that Chris Needham's just gone round, if you go too far out there, the camber switches on you and it leans away from the centre of the track. And that means that you can A, spin, B, not turn in as easily. There are some technicalities to this track, but the key place, if we go on board with Chris Needham, if that's possible. There we go. So he's on the infield section here. You keep it as close as you can to that inside curve. As I learned from my own teammate, big sweeping entries into corners around here doesn't benefit you because you're not going fast enough. Staying as close to that blue line as you see it as possible is the best way around. So this is the start of the lap, or rather the end. We're about to cross the start-finish straight. You're braking before you've even got to the start-finish straight, which is a weird feeling. Tip it in. You can get a 1x on that black stuff on the right there. Then you go down pit lane, which is just bonkers. And then this is where the danger happens. Clipping the inside wall here or the outside wall there, and you're done. It doesn't think about it, it just meatballs you straight away. You tip it in here. This is where I was saying that on this left-hand side here, the track cambers the wrong way. But he's done that very well. He's back on the gas early there. Cut this one. There's a bit of wall there that can take the front off your car. And then this is a weird double left-hander. You can tip it in too early here and you get too much grass. Then you've got this sharp right-hander. Then you've got a bit of breathing space here as you fire it up this tiny little hill. And then off the gas again. You spend most of your time off the gas. It's a strange, twisty little track. And then we're back where we were when we started the on-board. He's gone a bit deep into that corner there. You'll find that street cones on the track are a feature of this track. They were everywhere in the official. I didn't finish last night. A straight on here would take you to the pits. And that is a lap of this strange RC Legends course. Would you enjoy driving it, Yaz?
I don't think so. I was trying to follow that there, and it just didn't make sense to me. You're just driving the wrong way most of the time.
yeah, pretty much.
You look at them going down the start-finish straight in the opposite direction from what is the usual, and then through the pit lane. That can't be normal. And then you've got this little bit of two corners that you kind of know from the original track, and then you sort of feel like you're getting to some normalcy, and then you just cut across again into into the infield that is just so tight and quick, So it's going to be interesting to see where passes can happen around here. There's not very long. There's only the little bit that leading up to the start-finish straight. This version of the start-finish straight. Where you can sort of pick up momentum, but it's really stop-start kind of track where you almost feels like you're always turning. There's no straight section long enough to try and put something together. So I think it might be a race of attrition here. I'd be surprised if everybody finishes here tonight.
Yeah, be a good poll to have because there are some people in the chat. Even into Alan Toon, even into Bowman 1995. I feel like I should know who that is. Is that Rick Verhoek or someone like that? It is, yeah. So good evening to Rick. He says there's a wobbly win coming, like what he did there. So we should do a poll along the lines of how many TCRs are going to be left after lap 1 or something like that. Because it'll be the TCR field that gets it. If the GT4s crash, the TCRs are on them like white on rice on the first lap, as we found last night, and then everybody will pile into everybody else in theory. So let's see if we can get an event-free race. I am not scared of throwing a yellow for this one if we get a blocked track, because that is an absolute possibility. The race will last an hour regardless. We'll just lose laps, and it may change the strategy of the race. Pit stops, Yaz. Obviously, we're driving through the actual pit road. The pit stalls, I don't think there's very many. I think there's about 4, and everybody stacks up one on top of the other in it. I don't know what chaos is going to reign when and if we do any pit stops. If people haven't practiced them, honestly, I don't even know, because I never got a chance to practice. You don't pit in the official. Well, you don't. Yeah. I did, but it was only because I reset. But yeah, what do you reckon to pit stops? It's just going to be carnage.
I hope there's some people who didn't practice. That's going to be fun to watch. But yeah, it's. I think it's going to be a mixture of when people are going to put again, like we see every week. Some people are going to do it early. Some people are going to do it try and go as long as possible. What I do think we're going to see is some people try and put to get out of traffic. Around here, there's not the typical oval sort of stay in the draft. Because there's so many corners and so many such short straights. I don't think we're going to see too much draft racing around here. So I think it's going to be a case of people wanting to get out of the traffic that they're in. So we might see some interesting pit stop strategies come out here this evening. So another thing to look forward to.
Yeah, and is that someone going for a pit stop there? That's JB finding a pit box. Is that a pit box? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. So anyway, session has gone checkered. We've got 40 seconds for whoever's left. The Jamie Wilson there, trying to put a lap on. Not improving on that one. Sam Blease still circulating as well, or he was. And looks like Wobbly's still on track somewhere. Maybe not. So we're just waiting for the session to advance, and then we'll run through the starting order. I'll let you do the GT4s when it pops up, Yaz, and I'll do the TCRs.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the GT4s will be too long. Wobbly is still out on track. I think he's just about to cross the line now.
I can hear his car.
But yeah, okay, I think that's it though. Let's have a wait and see. Alright, so the order of events here, what we've got is Weber Niekamp leading the way in pole position for BSTV Esport Pink, Stefan Goebel VTS Esport in second. It's a very close time. Chris Needham in third, Arno Shinania fourth, and Jamie Wilson in fifth. That was quick.
And your TCRs, I'm going to have to do this fairly quick because it's a short lap. Spencer McCarthy for Alpine Geodesic Racing goes off on pole again. Stephen Walker goes off second for Spectre 6 Purple. Sam Blease for Alpine Stars Geodesic goes off third behind his teammate. Shane Powell goes off behind his teammate for Spectre 6 Purple in fourth. Matt Elmore goes off fifth for Spectre 6. I feel like I've said that a lot. Gary Craig goes off sixth for BSTV Esports Green. Just wait for the screen to roll up. There we go. Carl Hardy goes off seventh for Safeguard by Result. Eighth is Russell Cowell for Spectre 6. Rob Venn goes off ninth for BSTV Esports Pink. JB Dejoux goes off 10th for LMT Racing. Martin Brennan goes off 11th for Safeguard by Result. And Roger Morton goes off 12th for Workguard by Result. Waiting for... who is that? Oh, I think it's one of the Alpine Stars Geodesic Racing cars. It must be Sam because Spencer's on pole. Yet to join the track. There he is. So that should be us on the roll now for getting round this sighting lap. We're a rolling start as ever. I wouldn't look away, folks, if you're thinking of it, because this is going to be one hell of a start, I think. Possibly for all the wrong reasons, but we'll soon find out. Looks like Wobbly's going to do his thing of driving inside the pace car again, yes? Oh no.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting start. I mean, these guys are going to be driving through the pit lane, basically, the start of this race.
Yeah, and if the timing is right, we should be able to see on certain cameras the GT4 is going down pit lane while the TCRs are crossing the start-finish line at the start of this, because that'll be very, very weird.
Yeah, they've left a significant gap there. Hopefully, the GT4s get away smoothly. There are only 5 of them tonight, so there's not going to be. If there is any action, it's not going to be total carnage. Hopefully.
No, true.
But if there is, if something does happen, it could take out the whole field.
The other thing to tell you, Yaz, is the pit lane speed. At this track, the pit lane speed is 40 kilometers an hour.
Oops.
Yeah. Which I think is the speed that the pace car's doing, because that's pretty slow.
Just looking at the speed now, I can see they're doing about 60 kilometers per hour behind the pace car. So can you imagine if this is 60, what 40 must be like?
Yeah, dear.
And we could see some
pit lane penalties.
Some people coming into the pit lane there, and
definitely. Even into Los Barons. And that's how I'm saying your name. Right, here we go. And he's gone.
Yep.
He's got the jump on everyone.
Yeah, and now we're going to see this layout in action.
There we go, the TCRs.
He's also got the... Does he have the jump at the front as well?
I think he does, and everybody's concertina in together, but that looks clean.
Being too wide, they're coming into pit lane.
Coming into pit lane. Oh, there's a bit of shoulder charging going on.
Here's that corner that doesn't take any... Everybody's through.
Everybody's through.
Oh, I'm hearing an apology on the team radio, but nobody's out yet, so...
Oh, Rob. Oh.
There we go. Some action going over those sausages there. Those sausages are part of the original track. Oh, someone's turned.
Jamie's round.
In the middle of the track.
Oh, he is as well.
Oh, yes.
Foot on the brake. So he's trying to get safely going again, you can tell. Traction control will kick in and stop him from spinning. Which means he's got to go for a journey across the turf.
That's kicked him out completely. What's happened there? Let's have a look at the replay. Because he's a long way back now. He's just done it himself. I think he may have been. I think who was that was in front of him? I think it may have spooked him on the brakes there, going in a bit slower than what he was expecting, and was just hard on the brakes and turned the car.
It was Chris Needham in front of him. Look at these guys flying through here. So these three at the back are a little bit adrift of the rest of the field at the moment. The rest of the TCRs are literally nailed together.
Yeah, we know Rob Venn is quite quick, but we saw him have that incident over the sausages, which may have cost him cost him some time to the pack ahead. But I don't think he'll struggle to keep these guys behind him. I'm sure he's going to catch up to the back of JB Dejoux very soon.
Yeah, and in this field, I know that Stephen Walker is one of the only people that enjoys driving this track. He was very, very quick in all the practice sessions and in the race that we were in yesterday. He's currently second behind Spencer, and not by very much at all. 0.3 of a second at the moment. The car loves to go very light going over that crest of that hill. This is the pointy end, so he's less than 0.3 of a second. I think that's no seconds of any points. So he's fully on the loud pedal, sticking with Spencer McCarthy up to this point.
Just looking at the GT4 field, they've completely stretched out now. There's a big gap between all of them at the moment. Wobbly's pulled away at the front. Stefan Goebel is sort of, just a couple of tenths short of off pace of what Weber is doing. But then there's a big gap to Chris Needham, and then another bigger gap to Arno Chenanier. And then, like you see, we saw Jamie Wilson all the way at the back. But focusing on this TCR field now, the front pack are again stacked together. We saw one change at the front there, Stephen Walker taking second place over Sam Blees from the start. But these three are again attached at the hip as they have been all season.
Yeah, and Spencer was hanging the back of the car out on the fast right-hander a bit earlier in this lap, which means he's not got either the heat in the tyres, or maybe that's just his style of driving around that particular corner. But it was a bit lively at the back end, that's for sure. In front of them is Arno Chenanier, and he appears to be getting nearer to them. So that might be TCR's catching a GT4. Entirely possible on a course as tight and twisty as this. The TCRs are generally quite quick through these tight corners, or a bit faster than the GT4s at any rate. So yeah, he's only 3 seconds ahead at the minute. Or was there a reason he was this far back? Is this what race director is showing us? Oopsie. Yeah, that's why. I did wonder.
Doing a Pete Bingham, half a Pete Bingham actually.
Half, yeah. Let's not get too extreme. And thanks, by the way. Oh dear. So, Spencer's managed to gap Stephen Walker a little bit there. Further back, we've got Carl Hardy trying to fend off Matt Elmore and his teammate Russell Cowell. And JB's not that far back, is he? No. So all very tight in pockets, really, in the TCR field. And you're right, the GT4 field is very spread out now. Gary Craig managing to stay on the back of Shane Powell. And Shane's doing well there. He's in 4th place. That's going to be a great result if he can stay there.
Yeah, we've seen, Shane Powell's been the best of the rest. The top 4 has been quick this season. Quicker than they've stood out above the rest. And then Shane Powell has sort of been the best of the rest himself. We've seen him in battle with Carl Hardy and Russell Cowell at times. But yeah, it's nice to see him up there in the mix of it. So hopefully he can keep it going and keep inside this pack. I'm sure he'll enjoy the race from that vantage point.
Yeah, and Carl Hardy, I think he said he's got some new kit, some new pedals or something. And they seem to be doing all right for him. Hopefully his internet's more robust these days as well, because he was getting booted out of sessions. So yeah, he's staying in. Where is he in class? He's 6th in class at the minute, 2 positions up, but that's probably because Jamie Wilson's behind him somewhere. As these guys fly around again to take another lap.
Yeah, Arne Chalanier is now putting a little bit more space between himself and those TCR, so that's good to see that he's not falling back. He's not falling back lap after lap, so that's good. Jamie Wilson's got a massive task on his hands to try and get back to this field. It's gonna take some massive mistakes from the guys in front in the GT4s for him to finish higher than the 5th place that he is in at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. And also, overtaking at this track is, well, you can see it. It's not impossible, but it's not far from it.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and Spencer has lost that gap that he did have. However small it was, it's now non-existent.
Sam Blees seems to be struggling to keep on the back of that front two. I don't know if he's just made a mistake somewhere or if he's just a little bit off pace. But we'll just monitor that as the time goes.
Yeah, he's not going to want to let Spencer get too far ahead in terms of positions, because that would reverse what good work he did last time out. And you can see on the mini-map, or whatever you want to call that thing that's on the screen at the minute, we got a few stragglers rolling about the track, most of them being GT4s, but there's a couple of TCRs that have lost touch. Somebody's in the pits. Who's in the pits? Martin Brennan.
What was that about?
Did he go out on quali fuel or something? Sorry, I've just read Sam's message that he's just posted. I think it was to me. And he says that track map looks like spider sex. I don't think we need to start that conversation again, Sam. It went on for far too long the first time.
Did something happen to Martin Brennan? Did we miss it?
Yeah, was there an event? He entered pit road on my event tracker, but that's all I've got. Did he go out on quali fuel? I think he may have done. Or is that might be, because this is such a low fuel usage track. Oh.
Hello.
That's a mess. How is that not on the event tracker, Sam? What's that about?
Oops.
Yeah, that's a big
I'm
oops.
not the one to ask why something is not on the event tracker, though.
No, this is true.
Just saying.
I think we might need to rewind a bit there to see what's happened there. I think there might be a wall involved. Oops, there's some grass involved there. And
oh, have you found it? Have you?
No, I don't think so. I'm too far back.
Yeah. Ah, there. That was it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I was meaning. That bit of rubber tire on the left-hand side is a wheel amputation device.
No, that's not rubber tires. If you know iRacing, they don't have any rubber tires around the track.
It's concrete with knives on. Yeah.
Complete concrete tracks, tire walls around here. But yeah, as you know, these everybody has one free what do we call it, fast repair in these races. So if you do have an incident, you can still keep going. Just don't do it again. Basically, is what we're saying.
Yeah. Just the once.
Just the once, and you're free to go. Do it again, and that's it.
And it really is with these cars and that particular tire. Well, I hit exactly the same as Martin did last night, but I speared off into the right-hand one, got hit from behind, and spent the next 17 minutes in the pits getting repaired.
So, in other words, you took out more cars out of the field.
I took 2 others with me. Yeah, I wasn't going quietly.
Yep.
So these 2 are joined at the hip. Nothing between them.
They've sort of pulled a gap to third place now. They've been slowly pulling away from Sam Blees, and you can see that gap is now over a second. So it looks like the 2 of them are going to be fighting hard. We have seen these geodesic guys do some interesting things in the pit window, which has seen them jumping the field. So don't count that. I mean, that 1.5 second gap and the bit of extra pace. Don't count Sam Blees out at all just yet.
No, definitely not. And being sat here on Spencer's boot lid, do we think that that will enable Stephen to do a shorter pit stop? Because he only needs one tenth of a second, and he'll be in front, won't he?
Yeah, Stephen's very smart. I mean, we've seen him play out these strategies and sort of learn over time with these pit stops. So yeah, we can't count that out. That what he's doing behind Spencer here is just biding his time, and he'll look to take it. He might look to take it at the pit stop.
Yeah, I think it's a sensible option, because you're only going to put your car at risk trying to do an overtake on this track without somebody around you making a mistake and giving you the opportunity. We're looking forward from Jamie Wilson's BMW at the minute, as he's trying to make his way very carefully through the TCR field. He's probably having to choose his opportunities very carefully, he has.
Yeah, there's no opportunities here. The only place you're really going to get through easily is down the short straight, the short start finish straight. There's, as you can see here, he's just following all the way through because it just isn't a way through anyway here. And you must remember, these guys are, even though he's in the faster car, these guys are fighting for positions here. So this is the only place where you can try to make a move, and it's not that easy. But yeah, he might get the one here, and then he's gonna have to chase. He's going to chase down, who's this in front of him now? Carl?
Carl Hardy, yeah.
Yeah. He's going to have to do the same, follow Carl for a full lap, unless Carl's very generous with him. He's going to have to follow Carl for a full lap again and then wait for that straight to pass.
Yeah, so he only needs 13 laps and he'll be through the whole field of TCRs. So, yeah. Stephen, well, top 3... absolutely together. Shane drifting a little bit, and then Gary Craig is drifting a little bit more. So he needs to sort himself out because he needs to win this. But he's got a bit of a gap there, hasn't he? You can see at the top of your screens. But these top 3 are absolutely together. That was a nudge from Stephen on Spencer's rear bumper.
Yep, and like you say, these geodesic guys know what they're doing. You can see they've. I'm sure Spencer's has played the role of just slowing Stephen down a little bit so that Sam Blees can get back into this action.
Yeah.
The one thing about this is that it's so much easier to be the car that's chasing And Stephen Walker was the car chasing there with not much pressure from behind, but now he needs to look in front of him and behind him, to get around here. And yeah, these geodesy guys know what they're doing when it comes to team play.
They do, yeah, and they're all very, very experienced campaigners. These three at the front. I don't know whether I think Shane is catching them as well. I've got a feeling that he's chipping away at that time in front of him, and making his way onto the back of these three. They're not fighting, but I don't know. It's like
last time around,
at the front.
Yeah, last time around, Shane was the quickest car on the track.
Oh.
By marginal, not very much, but he was the quickest car on the track on the last lap. So, yeah, I have a feeling that Spencer might have heard us talking about Stephen Walker playing the saving game behind him, and just decided that he's going to do the same just to slow him down and give him something to think about with Sam Blees behind him.
Yeah, they both take very very different lines into this corner here, the danger corner, the wheel remover. Stephen likes to line up and get his braking in a straight line, whereas Spencer's not that bothered about having his car in a straight line. He's just going to scrub the speed and then turn in anyway. You won't lose much at the speeds these guys are going at, regardless of the line you take, I wouldn't have thought. What else is going on at the moment? Jamie Wilson has made his way past Carl Hardy now. His next victim is going to be Gary Craig. He's got 3 seconds before he reaches him, though, so that'll take a while. Wobbly is still leading this race. He's leading by 3.4, nearly 3.5 seconds now. There he is. That's enough of that. In second place is Stefan. He's not moved up. In fact, the whole of the GT4 field haven't changed positions since the start. So Stefan is 3 seconds ahead of Chris Needham, who's there on your screens. And Chris has himself a whopping nearly 12 seconds over his sister team mate of Arnaud Chenonnier. So we have to look a long, long way back, 19 seconds before we find Jamie Wilson, who I think Gary Craig's let him go in the hope that he'll have to get through these TCRs in front and slow them down a bit as he makes his way through.
Yeah, so we see Jamie now made his way through quite a bit. There's a gap between him and Shane Powell now, where he's going to have to catch up there. It looks like Shane Powell's dropped back again on this last lap. There's again the gap, but this top three are once again attached by hip there. The 3 cars. We coming up to about just short of 20 minutes now. That's a third of the way through this race. And yeah, nothing dividing these top 3 in TCR yet.
No, not at all. And yeah, you're right. Shane's getting dropped a little bit by these 3. I think they're starting to turn up the wick now. I mean, look at how Sam closes on Stephen just in that one corner. Very impressive control of the brake. Probably a bit more gambling involved in that tactic than the 2 in front of him, because he will not have the control on the tip-in. More chance of him clipping the wall, I guess. But yeah, definitely pulling away from Shane. And Gary's dropped back a bit further because he let Jamie through, but maybe he can stick with Jamie for a bit and move closer to the top bunch.
Yeah, you should get him just on good timing and pick him up on that start-finish straight there. And hopefully Jamie won't lose too much time. But yeah, like we said earlier, it's going to take a lot for Jamie to improve his position from 5th place there. But yeah, watching these TCRs, we've become so used to seeing these three up at the front, in whichever order. Stephen Wilson has struggled to be the car in front, but Spencer McCarthy and Sam Blees, he's been in the middle of the two of them in so many of the races that we've seen this season. And yeah, we'll again, like you say, we're gonna have to see what happens in this pit stops, if he can do something that sees him out in front, and then can he hold on at the front.
Yeah, who's Wilson, by the way?
Excuse me?
You said Stephen Wilson instead of Stephen Walker.
Oh well.
Somebody else does it as well as me. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, so not much. Well, there's no separating these three. I think this is going to go on at least until the pit stops, and then I think the pit stops may come up with some really big surprises. It has been, as we predicted, though, not a lot of overtaking, because it's so risky to do, isn't it? Do you think, Yaz, that this could be the most boring track that we go to all season?
It is a weird track, I'll say that much, but it's definitely a difficult one to make passes at. Just because it's just corner after corner. It's so quick from one corner to the next that you can't. I don't know. The more we're going around here, I'm trying to look at where can they set up a pass, and there just isn't anywhere, because you're just never carrying enough speed or able to take a different line, or go in. Even if you get a better exit than the person in front of you, the next corner comes up so fast. There just isn't an opportunity. So yeah, you could be right about it being boring. We're not going to see much passes going here. It's going to come down to I think this race is going to come down to a good strategy.
Yeah, I think when you think back to like last week's race, that was probably one of the most exciting races, or the week before. These guys were giggling like schoolboys because they'd had like wheel to wheel racing that just did not stop all race. And many overtakes. Silverstone, loads and loads of overtakes, and they loved it. And then you've got this track where you just can't, can you? You just can't effect a pass. The only place you can seriously do it is into turn one here, and all the car in front has to do is just be slightly offline to the right, and the way through is blocked. I don't even think you've got an overtaking opportunity really into this turn two. Because the tyres are too lethal, it'd be a risk.
Yeah, I think it's just it's one of those it's one of those tracks that you have on the schedule that just tests drivers, mental strength around here. I guess the traditional tracks like Hockenheim, which was last week, Silverstone a couple of weeks back. Not so much Brands Hatch. Brands Hatch is one of the traditional ones, but also a little bit difficult to pass. Not as difficult as this. But the traditional tracks like Hockenheim and Silverstone, lend themselves to really good racing. A wide track. Corners that gives you some space. I think that's the first pit stop.
I thought he crashed. I didn't realise he was in the pits.
That's the first pit stop.
Yeah, I think that's possibly one of the earliest points you can take your pit stop. Oh, he's come up on the back of the TCR, so he's thought, cut my losses, I'll pit now. So let's see what happens here. He dives it into the pits, tightest turn ever, and then 1 mile an hour to find one of the 4 pit boxes. That's a ridiculous situation. So we've seen it now. We know it's possible. Even the pit stalls, Yaz, are a bit second rate, aren't they?
I think that with Wobbly stopping that early, he's gonna have to fuel save on the next stint. In the final stint of this race.
Well,
that's 23 minutes. 23 minutes in, he's gonna fill it to the top, and then these GT4s just about make it past halfway. So we'll see how he's gonna do that. He does have a big gap. Or he did have a big gap when he came in. He's come out in 4th place, just behind Arnaud Chenanier. So yeah, we'll have to see how that one plays out. But yeah, I think he's gonna have to fuel save towards the end. Yeah.
No, because the fuel usage is so low here. I think we were doing in the TCRs, we were doing 0.9 litres per lap, which is just ridiculous. He spends so much time off the gas. It's absolutely counterintuitive. There's a slow move in. Whoa! Ooh. Stephen had a shot there at Spencer, and he's trying to get alongside now again. Is that Roger Morton? I think it is. Yeah. So this is hotting up at the very front here, and these three have got themselves a very big gap now. 5 seconds over Shane Powell.
What is Roger? Was Roger just getting out of the way there?
Yeah, he took to the grass, I think. Yeah. Yeah, because he's running again now. I mean, if these three were piling up behind you, you wouldn't want to be part of this, would you? Yeah, I was the car that ruined the race. Stephen is almost pushing Spencer around these corners.
Martin Brennan's in the pits again. That's too early pit stop, so could he have used up his second life?
I don't know. We'll have to have a look at the state of his car, I guess, on his way in. I don't know whether our roving cameraman can show us. That's him leaving pit road.
That's a very early stop, second time around as well.
It is. I don't know that he's binned it anywhere. Again, there's nothing on the event tracker. No, he's just decided I need to stop for the pits. Needed a wee or something, not sure.
And up for tyres.
Oh, he's taking tyres. I see. I don't think that's convention, because you put like a thimble full of fuel into the car at the pit stop.
It could be that he just forgot to switch them off when he made.
Oh yeah, we've all done it at some point. More cones on the track now. Full-time job for whoever the dude is that brings the cones back onto the points where they're supposed to be. Front two, getting a little bit of a gap on Samblees, but it takes like 3 corners and he's back on them again, so there's just no getting away around here, I don't think. You know, and if you're the car in 3rd place, Yaz, you wouldn't bother pushing at this point, would you? You just play a spectator, see if the two in front of you take each other out, stalk them for a while, save some fuel, and then see what you can do at the pit stop.
Yeah, these guys are comfortable racing at high speed. You know, I mean, if it was me or you, we'd be pushing like crazy to even hold on to them, but you know, they're comfortable racing these high speeds, so you know, they can play around with just dropping back a little. Or when I say drop back, I don't mean drop back from the pack, but just lifting off the throttle a little bit earlier and coasting in a little bit here and there, just to be comfortable in their pace and in that position, just holding that position, like you say. And I'm sure there's a bit of these games being played at the front here. With this top 3, I mean, they've pulled away from Shane Powell completely now, over 6 seconds. It's quite significant that gap that they've been able to pull while staying together like they have. Exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit tasty now. So Wobbly's done his pit stop, as we know. He's now trying to almost taking him 3 wide into turn 3. So he's making his way not just through the TCR field, but through his own field. Let's see how he manages to safely, I was about to say, get past Arnaud Chenanier. A little bit of a nudge there, and an apology from Wobbly. He's obviously just got a bit too much into Arnaud.
This is fun. Oops, oh no, going a bit tight there, close to the grass.
Yep. Wobbly tried to go around the outside there, and JB went wide in order to let Arnaud through. Now we've got Carl Hardy versus JB. Why is Carl Hardy all the way back here? Is he pitted? Yes, he has. Oh dear.
That horse straightened him out.
Yeah, 2 into 1 doesn't go through there. I think that'll do a significant amount of damage to that Honda. And here goes Wobbly. Is he or not? Under the brakes. Yeah, under braking there. Let's see this one. Was this a situation where Carl should have backed off?
Yeah,
Ooh,
just heard on the radio. Yeah, just heard on the radio Carl saying he should have pulled out. Not the first time you said that, I'm sure.
Can we get a shot from like properly overhead and then slow it right? Yeah. Can we go overhead? I'm not sure that there was full contact here. So they both tip into here. And then those cars aren't touching. That was solid air. I'm not saying they wouldn't have ended up touching anyway, but at the point where the cars took different directions, there was no physical contact. There's quite a bent up rear panel there on Carl's car now as a result of that. And that just showed... Is that Martin Brennan setting off again? Yeah. Right, so the top 7 of the TCRs have not yet pitted. Carl's now managed to get past JB, does you? See, JB's car has no damage on it at all. I think that was a solid air moment. What about you, Yaz?
Yeah, it looks like there was, if sometimes when you look at these netcode issues, a lot of us jump to call out, that it was netcode, but the trajectory looked like they were gonna hit in any case.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So 2 wasn't going to fit into 1 there. That little kink there is, it's a tight squeeze, and it's Carl Hardy. He's not going to get through there 2 by 2. So yeah, I think that was always going to happen, regardless of the fresh air between them.
Yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely, yeah.
He's gotten through now, and now he's got to chase down. Where is he? He's in 8th place. It's quite a long way away from the next position that they're trying to catch up. But like you say, they are the first of the cars that have pitted. So everyone ahead of them now still needs to come in. So it will be interesting to see where they filter back in. Yeah,
and these 3 need to get a room, really, don't they? Because they've not let each other go at all. They don't want to let each other disappear. Further back, we now have Jamie Wilson trying to make his way through the field after his pit stop. Arnaud Chenonnier doing the same. They're in the middle of the TCRs, whereas Stefan and Chris Needham, who haven't pitted, have a 10-second lead over Wobbly, who has. So GT4's in the middle of their pit stop window. We'll have to see what happens with the TCR leaders. I mean, there's 7 of them that haven't pitted so far. So I think you're right, Yaz. The ones that have pitted up to now, they've pitted very early.
Yeah, we've seen these TCRs go very long this season. Some is late, almost into, beyond 45 minutes into the race, which is quite late. So I'm sure they can still keep going. Missed the breaking point there, it seemed there.
Code brown for both of them. I'm sure Stephen Walker was very aware of one Sam Blees approaching at rapid speed.
That was rapid speed there.
Yeah, I wonder what was going on there.
I think he may have just lost some focus there and forgot that the breaking point was coming up.
Yeah. Whoa. Really was close. That's very Unbleeze-like, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they've come through that to live another day. So yep. So but Sam Blease has now dropped back quite a bit, and this could be the opportunity for Stephen now.
Yeah.
I think the big incident that's going to come up now is going to be who is going to stop when and how that plays out through this race. I think a good pit stop here is going to be all that is needed.
Yeah, absolutely. So he closes back in again, very heavily under braking there. Or rather, under heavy braking. Sam Blease must have pitted. Sam Blease has visited pit road. He's decided enough is enough. I'm going to get in there and get my fuel now.
Yeah, I think he was out of it there now. It was going to be a while before he was going to catch up to this pack. I have a feeling he was saving as much fuel as he could behind Stephen Walker and Spencer McCarthy when he was racing there. And now that he's out of that draft, he might as well just put and just go. When he comes out now, he's just going to go as fast as he can to try and sort of close that gap. And the gap we're only really going to see once these other two pit.
Yeah, just reading the note that Andrew McKinley's put in the chat. If that's what's happened tonight, Andrew, then very sorry to hear that. To carry on going, they've got quite a lead at the moment. Next car behind them now is Shane Powell, but that's 10 seconds nearly back down the road. Gary Craig has now just entered pit road and is now leaving it again, so he must have entered a little while ago. And has he come out in front of Sam Blease? Can we find Gary Craig on track somewhere?
Looks like he has come up ahead of Sam Blease.
So there's Gary. And there's Sam. So has Gary done an absolute blinder of a pit stop?
Has Sam Blease taken tyres?
Has Sam Blease taken tyres? Good question.
Maybe Sam Blease is just...
Ooh.
Has Sam Blease sped in the pit lane?
Is that a pit box? Who knows? Is that pit box? Is it the people working on that cherry picker that have just serviced his car?
Well, he's up in the air, so he's definitely taken tyres. Has Gary Craig done otherwise?
I think he must have. Let's have a look. Let me have a look at the timings. So, Gary did a 21-second pit lane time, and Sam did a 42-second pit lane time. So, some of the cars have taken pits and some haven't, so this is going to get even tastier, I think.
20-second difference, that's massive, eh?
It's huge. Yeah. But, maybe new tyres will make all the difference come the end of the race. I mean, we've got 20 minutes to go.
Yeah, that's got to make a significant difference to be able to break up 20 seconds. To take out 20 seconds of race time. I mean, with 20 minutes to go, that's... how many laps do we have here? What are we looking at? About... What's that? 12 laps, maybe.
Yeah, I would
That's a
say
lot of
so.
that's a lot of time to make up. 20 seconds is a lot of time to make up in 12 laps. So where does he find himself now? He finds himself in Sam Blees finds himself in 7th place, with the top 4 still needing to pit. So Matt Elmore and Russell Cowell are the ones we'll need to see how their pit stops go to see where Sam Blees filters back in with theirs.
Stu, however, so focused on racing, I'm not sure they've thought about their pit stop. I can only believe that in sitting behind Spencer for this long, Stephen has managed to save some fuel enough to make his stop slightly shorter and therefore do a bit of a leapfrog. Might not mean that he stays in front of him, obviously.
I don't think that they've not thought about that pit stop. I think they've been thinking about it since probably the 10th minute.
Yeah.
And Arno Shinonia finds himself in the undesirable position of being just behind that lead pack of TCRs.
Yeah, and look at this. Sam Blees with better tyres on Gary Craig. Gary's giving him the room to go there. Oh, and both the Spectre 6 cars are in the pits at the minute. So this might upset the apple cart here. We've got Arnaud Chenonnier making his way through still. He's on the same lap as the cars in front of him as well, which probably isn't going to make it any better.
Yeah, he's been sitting behind them now for it's the second lap coming around onto the straight up, and Stephen Walker's started for the pits. That releases Arno, but pit stall. Can you really call it a pit stall?
No, just another bit of tarmac. So he's not taken tyres. Who is still to pit? Just Spencer. Spencer is the last car to visit pit road. So we need to keep our eyes on this car here, Stephen Walker, and see if he managed to take any less fuel than Spencer when Spencer does eventually pit. There was a car. Oh right, that was. Oh no! Oh, I didn't see this before. We were so focused on his pit stop that we didn't see Arno. Did he hit something in order to do that? I don't think he did. Oh, yes, he really did.
Another one of those concrete tire walls.
Yeah. Oh, look at the back end. Wow. That's absolutely mullered the right rear tyre. Right rear wheel, or rather. And here we go. Here is Spencer. Now then. Looks like he was down to pit road speed, so no penalties. We are at minute 43 or 44 maybe at the minute.
Is Spencer moving already?
Yeah, he's back out on track.
That was a very fast pit stop then.
Let me have a look at the pit lane times. Diddly diddly dee. Can't find
That's a massive gap between them now.
Oh, yes, it is.
Right.
So Spencer was only stopped for 9 seconds, whereas Stephen was stopped for 18. So he did half the stopped time.
Oh, Well, that's a very short pit stop there compared to the rest.
It is, yeah, and but it's not that short. It's looks like Stephen has taken on more fuel than he should have done, because other cars around him. So obviously Spencer did a 9.33. Then we're looking at Shane at 10.8, Gary at 11.1, Russell at 10.1. So it's very much Stephen has taken on too much fuel. So we'll have to, if he manages to finish somewhere reasonable, which he will, barring any self-inflicted mishaps, or someone throwing a GT4 at him, we'll have to find out in the interviews afterwards.
Sam Blees up to fourth place again, with Shane Powell in his sights. We know Sam Blees has got some fresher tires on his car there.
Yeah, he's circulating a lot quicker than everybody else. Like everybody, he is 1.5 seconds faster than Shane Powell in front of him last lap round.
Yeah, and a second faster than Stephen Walker and Spencer McCarthy. So it might pay off here, or it looks like the worst case scenario is he ends up in third place again.
I think I've just heard Stephen Walker on the in-game chat say, "I've got enough fuel to do another 25 laps." That's hilarious. Oh dear. I mean, he can feel free to do it, but there's no point. So we're watching Spencer McCarthy here, who's got a 10.5 second lead nearly now, all as a result of one pit stop. So fell into his favour, definitely. That was Carl Hardy staying well clear. So everybody is fairly well spaced out at the moment.
Yeah, and it's just now going to be a anticlimactic end to an anticlimactic race. I think that's the best way to describe it. But it's interesting to see that mistakes have come into this. Mistakes have played a role in this result. Spencer's now overfueled his car. Was stationed in the pits for 10 seconds more than he needed to be, and that's cost him massively. A couple of mistakes in the GT4s have seen some drivers lose some time and place. It's come down to mistakes again that people have made. This time it wasn't as bad as people spinning out, and we saw a few people hitting the wall and so on, but it's actually come down to strategic mistakes.
Yeah, it's very much so. I'm going to step away for a second, Yaz, so entertain the troops. 2 minutes.
Yeah, we're watching Spencer McCarthy now doing his laps here really under no pressure. He's just got to nurse this last 12 minutes. It looks like he's got that win in the bag. Stephen Walker's now 10 seconds behind him, so that's a comfortable last 12 minutes for Spencer to take another win. Spencer McCarthy is leading Sam Blees by just under 30 points. Sorry, Sam Blees is leading Spencer McCarthy by just under 30 points in the championship. And just looking at that now, if if they finish in these positions as they are now, Spencer should be taking about 20 points off of him, depending on if they've had any incidents so far this race. And so it's all to play for in the final race next week. Watching Stephen Walker now, he's in third place in the TCR Championship. He's our current champion. Looking at him there in the number 1 car, he's had last season he won all races barring one. This season he's had the challenge brought to him with these guys from Geodesic, and he's been on pace, but he's just not been able to pull the wins very easily. I'm sure he's enjoyed it, but his luck seems to have run out a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. It did on that pit stop anyway.
Yep.
So, no more dramas on track at the moment. Wobbly still leads the GT4 field by 7 seconds. In second place, Stefan Goebel has a massive 22-second lead over Chris Needham, who in turn has a 33-second lead over Jamie Wilson. And unfortunately, Arnaud Chenonnier is out pretty much, I think.
Yeah, looking at the GT4 standings again, Weber's winning. If Weber keeps this one on track and wins this race, he'll take the lead of on the GT4 side. He's definitely been tremendous with speed, unmatched this season by anybody, despite only being in second place. We can't forget he did a few races in the TCR somewhere in the middle of the season, so he hasn't even raced all the races in the GT4 this season. So he's just been unmatched when it comes to pace. I think that he's going to take the lead here in the championship with one round to go, and Chris Needham next week is just going to have to hope that something happens to him and has a bit of a oopsie and hits one of the walls somewhere for him to win this championship.
Yeah, and it's lucky for Wobbly that Tyler's let him win, really, isn't it?
Yeah, Tyler's also not been around much this season, it's been a bit of a it's been nice to see Chris Needham at the front. It's been nice to see Stefan Goebel putting in some good performances. Jamie Wilson has been in the fight often, but it just wasn't enough cars on track, with significant pace to challenge Wobbly when he decided he's going to stretch his legs and pull away at the front. I know you don't like hearing that. That he's been a bit of a I'm going to say a class above the rest, but you'll probably change that to an arse above the rest.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing. Oops, Russell Powell.
Yeah.
Oops, Russell Powell.
That's
a hard hit.
Look at the wheel; it's dancing all over the place.
That's a hard hit there. That's unfortunate. That's with 5 minutes to go. What's it? Well, 6 minutes to go.
Yeah, he's currently in the pits. Yeah, that's almost what I did last night, but I hit the other wall.
Some guys might tune into this and watch these races and think like, they do some of the officials and they might think that, okay, we can jump into these. People who haven't raced in this league before. But an hour is very different to 30 minutes. It's a very different race, and 6 minutes short of an hour, and we see Russell Carl make a mistake.
Yeah, and race defining really, because he's in the pits. That'll take a long time to repair, and he's now one off last in his class already. So kind of an epic mistake, that one. Or rather, a mistake with epic consequences. That's the better way to word it.
Oh. And that's all that it takes.
It is. Evening to Stacey on the chat. Says she's just got back from work. Sorry she missed it. Well, you've not missed a great deal, to be honest. Not really. It's not been the most riveting race because there's, as we've said a number of times, no real overtaking opportunities to take advantage of. It's certainly not been the blast that Silverstone was, with all the lead swaps and hilarity of racing so close to one another. But it's starting to get a little bit tasty around Matt Elmore at the moment. So that's JB Dejoux on the same lap as him, I think. About to get lapped by Spencer. Yeah. And it looks like Stefan's going to put a lap on them as well. So looking back from JB's car through his rear wing. Spencer's getting ever so much closer.
I don't know why they put these cones out on this track.
No, they just clear them off every lap. It's funny. So Spencer's having a good look at JB.
That's close.
That was super close. And there's a bit of non-solid air, a bit of anti-air going on here. And this is demonstrating just how difficult it actually is to do an overtake, because JB's keeping to his lines and staying ahead of the race leader.
And Stefan Goebel's also going to want to get through.
Three wide, because that's what we want to see.
That's fun. But yeah, they're all through.
I had to hold my breath then. The worst commentator in the world holds his breath when the cars are three wide. I just thought there's a disaster coming right now. But it didn't happen, so yay!
Yeah, I think that both Stephen Walker and Stefan Goebel were quite patient there, waiting for that that corner, and then just thought, okay, if we don't do it now, we're not going to get through here, and we have to follow him another lap. And it's just one of those tracks. We've said it earlier. It's like there's nowhere to pass. Not even if you're trying to lap a car, there's nowhere to just let someone pass or let someone through. It's just one of those places that is. There's just nowhere to go. So at least we saw a bit of action there with those lead cars trying to lap some of the others.
Yeah, Matt Elmore's got the same thing going on. Gee whiz.
But this now is for position. This isn't a lap car wanting to get through. JB's got a hold on here for.
Oh, that was a wall. You can see his wing mirror decided to go a bit limp on the left-hand side. Popped into that corner, but he should be okay. He's on the racing line and he's got the better drive.
Yeah, I think we're going to probably have one more after this. So JB's got a hold of Matt Elmore for the rest of this lap plus another one. He's going to be sweating buckets.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be a good result for JB. 7th in class.
Yeah. I mean, he's held he held up. He kept Spencer McCarthy behind him for a full lap, so he should be able to hold off Matt Elmore here.
I mean, you can see that his wing mirror hanging off on the left there. Surplus to requirements anyway. And look at this. Sam Blease has caught Stephen Walker. So this is going to get tasty at the end of this race. We need a bit of excitement, to be fair.
I was questioning the 20 seconds last there, but this might have been a really good call there by Sam Blease.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got to do the job, and Stephen's gone defensive as you'd expect.
I think that
anything away.
You must also remember that Spencer made a Yeah, he's going through Stephen Walker. Stephen Walker made that mistake to pit for 10 seconds longer than what he needed to. So, had he not made that mistake, he would have been up the road, still another 10 seconds up the road there before Sam was going to catch him. So,
he sent Sam wide though. That was a great move from Stephen Walker. He's not only, you're right, absolutely right. He's not only on older tyres, he's on a heavier car because he took more fuel on.
Yep.
So both of those things are working against him.
And this is the white flag lap now. So yeah, Sam Blease is, I think. Sam Blease has gotten through now. I think it's going to be quite a struggle for Stephen Walker to get back there.
See, where was all this racing at the beginning of the race? Everybody's trying to duke for position, and it's like the last lap.
Weber's won, by the way.
Already?
In case you missed it, Weber's won. Stephen Goebel's coming second. It looks like Chris Needham should be coming. Spencer McCarthy's also crossed the line already to win that one.
Who was that going very slowly?
Yeah, I think it's been something between Matt and JB, so Matt let him through.
I see.
Because I see JB crashed before he crossed the line. Gonna watch this battle and we will look back at what happened.
Yeah, so this is Rob Venn and Russell going at it now. I can't believe that all these battles are on the last lap and a half, 2 laps. Rob's trying to do the cut back and he's going to get the door slammed in his face there.
Yeah, it's over now.
Yeah, that's that one done. Russell comes off best.
Alright, let's watch back what happened.
So in the tight and twisty bits, bit of bump drafting. And a bit of a shove.
Just bump, not drafting.
yeah, just the bumping bit of a bump draft.
Yeah, but fair play, giving the place back.
Yeah, it's always good to see the sportsmanship. I mean, in the officials, people bump and run like that quite frequently, and it annoys the snot out of me. So Wobbly is doing a full lap of the oval course now. Let's just watch this happen.
I would love him to be disqualified.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
That. That would be so much fun.
The results though.
And he got black flagged, so...
Well, the results are up. We win the camp in first place. BSTV Esport Pink. Stephen Goebel, VTS Esport in second. Chris Needham with another third place result there. Another podium. Jamie Wilson, early incident there, managed to finish in fourth. Honor Chenanier, one tyre all too many for him with a 5th place finish.
And then TCRs. Sorry, I had an itch. Oh, Jamie going the wrong way there. So Spencer McCarthy was your flag-to-flag race winner tonight for Alpine Stars Geodesic Racing. His teammate Sam Blease came home second, some 15 seconds behind him. Stephen Walker finished third for Spectre 6 Purple, with his teammate behind him in fourth, Shane Powell. Fifth was Gary Craig for BSTV Esports Green. Sixth was Carl Hardy for Safeguard by Result. JB Jeju finished 7th, just ahead of Matt Elmore. That was for LMT Racing and Spectre 6. Roger Morton finished 9th for Work Guard by Result. Russell Cowell was 10th for Spectre 6. Rob Venn finished 11th for BSTV Esports Pink. And 12th was Martin Brennan for Safeguard by Result. So, all the action, Yaz, was in the last 2 or 3 laps of the race.
2 laps of the race, yeah.
Yeah. So where were they for the rest of it? It's like they all decided, right, now we're racing. A bit bizarre. It was a bit dictated by in TCR in GT4s rather. Jamie spinning out early on in the race, that kind of set his race up, didn't it? He wasn't coming back very quickly from that.
Yeah, he fell back so far. This the track just doesn't lend itself to any kind of mistakes. It pulled a lot of mistakes out of guys. We've seen quite a few people hit the wall, or should I say tires. That was harder than all. But yeah, it came down to the guys who didn't make mistakes had some decent results. So we saw some weird and funny pit stops. Again, some people made mistakes. Some people made really good calls. Sam Bleeze's call was a really good one. But then again, would it have been a good one had Stephen Walker not made that mistake with ease? So there were some interesting different strategies out there. But in the end, the guys at the front were just too quick.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we'll start the interviews and see what the guys have to say. Just making sure that I'm on the right mode, and then who have we got? Who have we got going on? See, I knew I hadn't pressed that. No, it's not letting me do anything. So we will bring in, because there are no... Oh, yeah, there is a GT4 in there, but we'll bring in Spencer McCarthy. Finished first in his class. Spencer McCarthy, Alpine Stars Geodesic Racing. Good evening.
Hi, Pete. Hi, yes. Yeah, how you doing, guys?
All good, thanks. Bit of follow my leader at the front for you for quite a long time there. You had Stephen in close company up until the pit stops. And then you must have looked in your rearview mirror and gone, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Where's he gone?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you listened to the in-game chat, but yeah, no, I'll let him tell you specifically, but yeah, he made a pit stop boo-boo, as you can imagine. And then, yeah, it just left me out in front, just probably saying the alphabet, which is probably as exciting as going around here 100 million times.
It lacks a bit of excitement, this track, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not really one where you can kind of go side by side, or it's really, by the time you finish the last corner, you're preparing for the next one, and I think it was, obviously it's on the official season. It's not something that the league is selected and stuff. It's just it was there, right? So yeah, no, it needs must, and we got through it. Luckily I got on pole, and I think that obviously that was going to be, quality was always going to be the big factor here, wasn't it? And I don't know where I got that time from, to be honest. That was, I'd never seen a 16 in any of this, and getting a 17.0 was like, what? Yeah, I don't know how I really. And I was chasing a 16. I was like, well, this could be a bit of a result, but yeah, no, it was good to be on pole, and that's what won it, really.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. Yeah, I mean, you were clean throughout. You didn't do a pit lane boo boo. You kept it on the track. Didn't hit any of the tyre amputators that were strategically placed by racing around the track. Those tyre barriers. We saw some other people clock them, like I did last night in the official race, and they absolutely annihilate your car. You stayed clean and clear of that. You kept Stephen behind you for, I think it was about 30 or 37 laps or something like that.
Yeah,
and did enough. So congratulations on your win tonight. I think it was very well earned. Anybody you'd like to have a shout out to before we let you go?
The people that built this configuration of the track. Yeah, just the normal. Yeah, thanks for putting it on. Great bunch of guys. Great race. Shame we couldn't do more battling, but we were kind of in our heads, I guess, battling through the whole of that. And yeah, Steve did put me under a lot of pressure in certain places, and I just knew that I had to get the right run out of the right corners, so I could get the right gap to protect the next corner. It was one of those kind of like rhythm things that I just had to get into. Managed to get through. So yeah, thanks guys. Awesome.
No worries. Thank you very much, Spencer McCarthy. Right then, for your interview pleasure, Yaz, we're going to bring in Wobbly Kneecaps, the winner of GT4.
Wobbly Kneecaps, the winner of GT4. What was that? A boo?
It's a woo. It's a
Oh,
wow.
a woo.
It's a
Wow.
it's
Wow,
into
woo.
the helicopter, you know.
Okay, sure. Another win. We were in the GT4s. Talk us through that early pit stop strategy there. What was that about?
Yeah, so last week on Hockenheim, I found out that the way I was driving, I was killing the tires on the setups. So I knew that I had to pull away in the beginning, so I kind of gunned it from the start. And then after like 6 laps, I was running like, well, it's gonna be a pain in the ass to get by the TCRs. So I might just once I hit the first back marker, just pit in, and hoping that Stefan wouldn't follow me. So he didn't, and then I kind of avoided the most of the traffic. So it was just I had to push a bit, but well, it was okay.
Okay, and in terms of your fuel towards the end, was this track a easy fuel, easy on the fuel?
Yeah, it's like I think I only had to fuel like 28 liters, so that's the reason I didn't even take lefts, which I normally do, or rights, whatever is needed. And I think I could have saved, but then again the fuel mileage was so low, so I tried to put everyone off on the chat on GT4 in our Discord, saying that it's a really fuel saving track. Like maybe they will fall for it.
Well, it's another win, and that should see you take the lead in the GT4 championship. 1 race to go. All you got to do is not crash in the next one. You think you can do it?
Might be tough, mate. You know how I drive.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Well, a win. Do you want to before you go? Do you want to thank Pete for anything?
Pete for setting up the session. Good job, Pete.
Yeah, thanks.
And not Gary for not helping. You guys are setting up the broadcast and the league. It's a really good bunch of lads. Really good community. All the guys in Discord and well, they're not Jazz, because Jazz, you're annoying. Sam this time.
Well, goodbye. See you.
Goodbye.
Well done on your win, Wobbly. Another
Thanks,
one, and good luck with the last race of the season.
Yeah, thanks.
Right. We got rid of him. Right then, I'm going to bring in the other GT4 who is in the waiting room. Whoops. No, I'm not. I'm going to click random buttons until Jamie Wilson appears, apparently. Jamie Wilson, good evening.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. You kind of spun the car at the worst point in the race possible because you ended up having to let the entire TCR field through, which proved to be very difficult for you to overtake to get back on terms with your own class. It's just one of those races, I think, for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just got a bit caught. I think it was Chris ahead of me. Cold tyres. If you remember, I did the same thing at Red Bull Ring 2 seasons ago. First lap, it was just the car's a bit awkward at that point, and if you get caught out by something like that, it just goes, and there's nothing you can do about it. The worst thing about it was I thought I was. It must have been a very long spin, because I thought I was sort of closer to the middle of those two corners than I actually was, which is why I was rolling back trying to get on the grass, and then there wasn't any grass behind me. I was like, oh, I'm further round. Whoops.
Yeah, it's a double right-hander there, isn't it? But
Yeah, I thought I was in the middle, but I was a bit further.
Yeah. So yeah, that kind of defined your race, I think, because it took you so much effort to get past everybody else on the way through, and in the end, Arnaud Chenonnier ended up in the same situation after his pit stop, and ended up crashing on his own anyway, which was a shame. Better hope for Hungaroring next time out.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it's still top 5 result technically. It's a bit optimistic assessment, maybe. But so I said that to Simon earlier. He pointed out I was also in the bottom 5. So yeah.
Pint half empty, pint half full. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Pint on me head by the sound of it. But the Hungaroring. I don't think have I raced there. I don't know, but I'd like to. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Awesome stuff. Anybody you'd like to have a shout out to? Clearly not Simon.
Wobbly for fixing the session.
Yeah. I hadn't even noticed.
But no. Cheers for sorting that out. Obviously, getting the call up to do that as a panic moment. Obviously, can't blame Clyde for that one either, because I think that was an iRacing snafu. But we can, but
we will do. But we probably shouldn't. But yeah.
But no, cheers for cheers as always to you guys and everyone else. TCRs, even though I was mired in among them, it was all good. Gave me something to do, trying to fight through them, sort of gracefully. So yeah, good stuff.
Great. In that case, congratulations on your top 5. Finished 4th tonight, Jamie Wilson.
Cheers, guys.
Right then, Yaz, for your interview pleasure, we have the other half of Alpine Stars Geodesic Racing. Finished 2nd tonight, Sam Blees.
Hello.
Sam Blees, second place, a interesting pit stop strategy that paid off in the end. How did that race go for you?
Messy, I think it's fair to say. Yeah, the pit stop strategy wasn't entirely what I planned, but I figured that I wasn't going to get past Spencer or Stephen just doing the same as them, so I would take a risk and take tyres. And then I got into the pit box and the car went up and the tyres started going on, and I realised I hadn't ticked fuel. So I said I want some fuel as well, but it didn't start until I finished the tyres, so I lost like an extra 6 or 7 or 10 seconds or something waiting for the fuel after the tyres had finished.
Oops.
Yeah. And then it worked out. I still ended up where I wanted to, because I think Stephen had a problem in the pits as well. Yeah. But it made the second half a bit more exciting than it otherwise needed to be.
Well, we did speak about it in the booth and through the broadcast that it was this track was gonna be all about mistakes. Passing around here was near impossible until the last lap apparently. Nothing happened for 58 minutes, and then all of you guys decided now's the time we want to make some action happen. Was that the case? Was it just really hard to make any passes? Even trying to lap cars, we saw some trouble. Was it just the layout of this track?
Yeah, it was just so tight, and there was no straights between corners, so you were just constantly pretty much at the full extent of what your car was doing. And it meant that if people weren't diving out the way, which to be fair everybody was, and it was I had no issues at all from what I was seeing. It was great lapping, and people were really kind and really thoughtful jumping out the way. But if you weren't doing that, there was just no hype. Like the first 20-30 laps, whatever it was, with Spencer and Stephen, there was a couple of laps where you felt like, oh yeah, I've got a bit of an advantage here, and there's just nowhere to go. You can't do anything with it. So that's why I went for the different pit stop, because it was just, I thought that was the only way anything was gonna turn out differently. And then at the end, with Stephen, that was really good fun. The last lap, I don't know if you guys caught it. Yeah, but that was in tyres, because I had fresh tyres and he didn't. So I was a sort of second and a half quicker because of that, and thankfully caught him just in time to make it stick at the end.
Well done on that second place. It was the right call, even though you did have a bit of a oopsie in there. But it was the right call to take those tyres, because you just had extra pace, and that's what propelled you to second place in the end. Is there anybody you'd like to say thank you to before you go?
Just to reiterate, thanks to everybody else for jumping out of the way and being really sort of cautious and careful and not holding anyone up. That was really good to see, and it's just what we come to expect from the BSTV stuff. Everyone's really respectful and really sort of sensible and kind, so that was really nice. And to Spencer and Stephen for a really good race, and Stephen in particular for the last lap there. And as ever to you guys for hosting and putting it on, and Pete for coming to our rescue just before the broadcast started as well.
Who would have thought Pete can come to the rescue? But well done
anybody
again.
For anything, yeah.
There's a first time for everything.
Well, Sam, well done on a good finish to that race, and we look forward to seeing you in the last race of the season next week.
Yeah, thanks very much. Cheers, guys.
Cool. Right, we've only got one person left to interview. We had some bail out a minute ago, so. There we go. That was the most delayed transfer of anybody into the interview room ever. I pressed the button like ages ago. Good evening, Stephen Walker.
G'day, mate.
G'day. I've got a question to ask you. Have you got any fuel you can lend me?
Yeah, another race worth of fuel. If you wanted it.
I did hear just very faintly in the background because I turned the in-game chat right down so that it doesn't distract me too much. But I was like, have to listen to this one. And you were saying something about I've still got 25 laps worth of fuel.
Yeah, so I have Crew Chief do it automatically, and it did. It worked fine. But as I was in the pits and I had the fuel on, I was like, actually, that's too much. I'm going to take a click off because I just didn't need that much fuel. But as I clicked the down button, the fueling stopped. And then it added it again, and I just panicked. And instead of just ticking the box to stop fueling, I put in literally 3.9 gallons and then 3.5 gallons. So I had another 28 laps of fuel, I think, when I came out of the pits. So it was only a matter of time. Obviously, with the heavier car and the tyres worn and the track was going up, I was never making any time back and just fell backwards. And I was so annoyed with myself. But yeah, that's what cost me second place.
Because you were absolutely rapid round here. I mean, it's hardly anybody's favourite track, this one. There was no opportunities that we could see for proper overtaking because between the corners there wasn't enough track to get any advantage. And the speed that you three particularly were going at, I don't know that you could affect passes very easily anyway.
Yeah, I think even if I'd not messed up the pit stop, it would have taken some sort of mistake from Spencer, I think, for me to even get a run on him, let alone make the pass through. Like, I would have been happy to just sit there and see what happens, and I don't think I would have been able to force anything at all, really. He's too good, he's too quick, and we're pretty much the same pace. Like I say, it would have really only been a mistake from him that would have let me by, really, or given me at least the even opportunity to go by.
And we saw you showing your nose a few times in certain corners, trying to put him off, and that's what racing's all about as well. Trying to psych out the opposition. We saw everybody decide, do you know what? The last 2 laps, I think we better start racing now. There was battles everywhere. We'd not seen anything for, what did you say? Yes, 58 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
58 minutes of nothing.
Unfortunately, it's very much one of those tracks where there's not a lot of strategy options. It's pretty much one line, and it just led to that kind of race that we had, unfortunately. And I knew Sam was going to catch me because he had obviously changed his tyres, and I'd made the mistake with the fuel, so I was getting slower and slower, and he was getting quicker and quicker to a point. And then I tried not to make it too easy for him, but he was getting me no matter what on that last lap. It was just a case of just going to see if I can put you off enough to get in front. But he was too quick. It's not a problem. It was a good end to the race. It certainly livened it up a bit, yeah.
Stuff. Hungaroring next time out. Is that one that is going to mean that you can take it to these Alpine Stars geodesic races?
I hope so. I like the track. I didn't realise I liked it until we did it last season. Because I've never really raced on it before properly, apart from maybe an F1 game a couple of years ago. So I had decent pace around there. We'll see what happens this season. Obviously, both Sam and Spencer are way too quick. So you've got to come up with something special just to even run with them. That's what it feels like this season. It's been fun, and I'm looking forward to the next race to see what we can do, at the very least to hope for a podium again.
Yeah, hopefully that'll come, and with the extra experience of driving Hungaroring, maybe that'll balance it out for you for the last race of the season and get you on the top spot.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Like I say, it's been a tough season. It's probably my worst season since joining, just in the fact that I've had more errors, I think unforced errors as well, and equipment issues and things. So I'm happy just to finish if I can nick third from Gary in the championship. That's the only thing I've really got left. These two have really pushed the speed up a lot, and which is good because it pushes you as well. But it's taken me a while to adjust. I think I've been with them the last few races. It's just I need to work on strategy maybe a little bit more.
Maybe, and of course you're not allowed to get third from Gary Craig because he's my teammate. Anybody you'd like to have a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, obviously you guys, Sam, Spencer, my teammates. I know I think everyone apart from Shane had an issue with the pits or hitting the wall. So I think Shane finished fourth, I think.
Yeah, fourth.
A really good result for him. Yeah, he's took a liking to this track, even though it's quite difficult. But just thanks. I really appreciate it. It's great.
Case, congratulations on your third place finish tonight, Stephen Walker.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Right then, Yaz. I'm not going to ask for any more opinions on this track because I think we've had them all. And they're all about equal. But we do need to do our Racer of the Evening. So I think, seeing as Sam hasn't had to say anything for any of the interviews, that we put some pressure on Sam and let him state who his driver of the evening was.
Okay.
Pete. Oh no! You were not
wasn't there.
racing.
There you go.
That's
See,
a
you wanted
shame.
to, didn't you? You wanted to.
I'll pick Spencer this time. He's been the best one this year today, so deserve that one.
So that's one vote for Spencer. Well earned. I'll go next, and I'm going to vote for, and I'd already decided before Stephen had mentioned, I want to go for Shane Powell, because a fourth place for Shane is quite an achievement for him. He seems to have tuned into this track. He had an event-free race, and it's easy to have an event-full race around here. We've seen that from some of them. And got himself just outside the top three, which is going to be a great result for him. So, well done, Shane. Yaz?
I would give the driver of the day to this track, actually. Because
To the
it
track?
killed everything. It killed everything. But,
the atmosphere.
but I think that for me, the driver of the day is just for that decision, and was Sam Blees. He was the only one who decided to take tyres, and it made all the difference. So, Sam Blees for me.
Right. Utterly divided between the three of us. But good choices nonetheless. Right then, so, as I've mentioned, in a week's time we are at Hungaroring. In between that, on Saturday, we are at... we're doing 992s. That is right, isn't it? Yeah. And I'm about to try and find out where it's at, because I don't actually remember. It is at Road Atlanta, one of my favourite tracks. I'll be in the booth with Sam. No, I won't. I might be in the booth.
You will?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I will be. I'll be in the booth with Sam. Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll be alone, so I'm gonna be.
I thought you raced that one, that's all. You don't, do you? Or do you? I don't remember.
Yeah, but at the same time, Clyde is not there, so...
Yeah, true, yeah.
Like you were in the booth today, I will be in the booth Saturday.
Yeah, I've just done that bit of math. So that's rounds 11 and 12 of our first season on 992s. Should be a good race. Road Atlanta very much suits those types of vehicles. So don't miss that one. Like I said, it's Hungaroring next time out for GT4 TCR in a week's time. What have we got in March? We're looking at more V8 ESC action round 6 and 7 on March the 5th. So tune in to all our races. Try not to miss any because they're all eventful. When we come back to V8 ESC, you'll have probably Wobbly in the booth, and we'll be talking about all things slightly strange, because that seems to be what happens. The last one was a bit of a blast and was very entertaining. So tune into them all. Watch us on Twitch, watch us on YouTube, and try and keep up with us on Facebook if you can. I'll say good night now. Let Yaz say his good night, and then Sam, and we will see you next time out. So good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We're blaming the track for the lack of excitement at the beginning of the race, and the last 2 laps are all on us. So thank you very much. Good night.
Good evening, everybody. We'll see you next week.
And good night, everybody. See you Saturday.